What's up YouTube fragrance family, Tommy with Studio Sense here. Welcome to another video. Hope you're having an excellent day so far. I sure am, because I'm super excited about this next fragrance that we're going to be talking about. It's a brand new release from Hugo Boss. Now I say it's brand new, it was released about a month ago. Saks Fifth Avenue ran out super quick and it was a while before they got some in. I found an alternate source. I'm going to do a brief unboxing and give you guys my first impressions of the new Hugo Boss The Scent Le Parfum. I am a huge fan of this Gourmand line of fragrances, so when we come back, we're going to take a closer look at this new release. That and more is coming your way, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. So today we're going to be looking at a new Hugo Boss flanker. Now, if you're not a fan of or you've never heard of The Scent by Hugo Boss, I'll show you guys a brief history of release, kind of give you guys kind of a timeline, a chronology to look at, because I, for one, really dig Gourmand fragrances, and this is one of my favorite lines. The Scent Intense, still an eau de toilette concentration, but a lot more powerful. It lasted a lot better, performed much better. And so because of the buzz from the Scent Intense, another flanker, the Scent Private Accord, was born, launched. That saw some really good reviews. I, for one, really enjoy this as a gourmand fragrance, and it just pushed that Manica fruit even further in terms of its dark richness and makes for an epic cool weather fragrance. 2019 saw the Scent Absolute for him, which so far the Scent Absolute is my absolute favorite flanker. I really like just how refined the quality is. You could even dress this one up as well as wear it casually, so it adds to the versatility and therefore a lot more wearable. 2021 came along and Hugo Boss saw a need or a market for a warm weather version of the scent, which the scent itself is kind of a warm weather version. I mean, it's signature scent. You can wear it in any kind of weather, but they created the Scent Pure Accord. Now, personally, I like the Scent Pure Accord. I think it's a nice fragrance, and I think it's a nice addition to the line. It's a lot lighter. It's got a nice soapy, clean base to it without being supremely shower gel-like. 2022 comes along and we've got the Scent Le Parfum. Now, before we talk about the note breakdown, even though it's going to be really familiar, let's take a closer look at the presentation. The Scent Le Parfum features a dark brown and copper theme. Boss, Hugo Boss, and the Scent Le Parfum on the front are all in copper, and there are two shades of brown. The sides of the box feature no information. On the very back, it says a powerful and sophisticated interpretation of the original fragrance. An addictive accord of iris and leather heightens vibrant notes of ginger and Manica fruit for a most sensual signature. And then boss.com, you've got the ingredients listing, address information. On the very bottom of the box, you've got 1335, which is the batch code. You've got a QR code, UPC, and the various stickers. This is a 100 ml bottle, and it is a Parfum concentration. The bottle itself is similar to the original The Scent and all of the other flankers. It reminds me of an old-timey barrel that would be like in the 1950s, like a whiskey barrel that would have the copper wire banding around the cedar barrel itself, because the metal is that copper color. You'll notice that the glass itself is slightly tinted, even though the juice is probably like a light tan color, and that gives it a little bit of a darker color. You've got Hugo Boss and Le Parfum in copper on the front of the bottle. The bottom of the bottle is a band of that copper metal, and then you've got a sticker on the very bottom with the batch code information. The lid is flat and a combination of metal and plastic. The atomizer is copper colored with a black aperture, and that's pretty much it for the presentation. I'm a huge fan of these bottles. I think they're very classic looking. They're almost a bit noir looking, simply because of the darker thematic copper and glass combination. Just reminds me of an old distillery back in the 40s, 50s, and it just kind of has that feel or that look about it. Remember when they used to wear the suit and tie with the suspenders and the Gatsby hat or some other form of cap or hat? That's the kind of era that this reminds me of, although it's got kind of a seductive overall feel to it. But what about we know the other flankers have Maninka fruit, and that's the primary focus. Maninka fruit, not surprisingly, is from another country. They consider it an aphrodisiac, chew it for a few days, kind of like tobacco. What we're primarily interested in, what does it smell like? The best way to describe Maninka fruit is like a fruity chocolate. It has that darker, heavier density to it, like cacao or cocoa powder, but then it has a light fruity side too. There's like a duality, and it manages to do that successfully. Maninka fruit is a wonderful find, and Hugo Boss was the first to use it in a fragrance. What about this one? Let's talk a little bit about the note breakdown of the scent Le Parfum. The scent Le Parfum features top notes of citrus notes and ginger, with heart notes of iris, Maninka fruit, patchouli, and lavender, resting on a base of leather and precious woods. So we know this opens with citrus and ginger, so it's going to be aromatic from the get-go. Then in the heart is where you get into that Maninka fruit. Then it's subsidized by some interesting notes. You've got iris, you've got patchouli, and you've got lavender, all of which work really well together. Really subsidized, darker, richer, more resinous notes, like ambery kind of notes, warmer notes. And then in the base, you've got a duo of precious woods and then leather. So let's check out the juice. Nothing special about the atomizer. They're pretty utilitarian, but they do what they do really well. They spray just a little bit of a burst of juice. Okay, so what I really like about this so far, my initial impression of this fragrance is it's like a combination of the scent Absolute and Pure Accord. So that ginger and citrus fruits is a very, very fresh open. It's a great introduction, but you automatically get that Maninka fruit, which is dusty, lightly chocolatey, slightly powdery, and yet fruity. So it goes really well with the citrus fruits in the open, along with the ginger. I'm really glad that I can actually pick up on the iris. So you can definitely pick up on a very pure kind of iris, not the makeup-y or lipsticky kind of iris, which is like a pure masculine kind of iris or orris. You can pick right up on the iris and lavender in the heart. I'm not really getting any leather or woods yet, so probably gonna have to let it dry down, and I'm probably gonna have to put it on skin to really get, because for whatever reason, I don't pick up on woods and leather especially good on a tester strip unless that's the nature of the fragrance, is leather. So in typical fashion, I'm gonna put the lid back on the bottle. I'm gonna let this dry down for just a moment, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts on the scent Le Parfum by Hugo Boss. So what I'm going to say before this thought leaves me is that I really like the purity of this fragrance. What I mean by the purity of it, it reminds me a bit of Pure Accord, which was the last flanker that was released, only they've taken it and they've put some of the best qualities, I feel, of the scent Absolute. It's like a combination of Pure Accord, the scent Absolute, and then they've invited a really nice iris note. That iris note really comes through for me in the center, and I am an absolute fan of iris. So if you like iris at all, you're gonna really like that pure masculine iris note that for me comes front and center in the heart of the fragrance. Now, as the fragrance has dried down, I am getting a really nice midline leather, something that's in between new and old, something that's not particularly aged, also not fresh from the manufacturing floor. It's a very effective half and half between woods and leather in that base. When you combine it with the Maninka fruit and that iris, what you get is an extremely refined the scent flanker. The fragrance opens very fruity, very citrusy. You got that ginger right away, and it's kind of sweet too. But that sweetness is dialed back relatively quickly. After about 15 minutes, it's mostly gone. Although there's just enough to recommend this as still a gourmand fragrance. Primarily what you get is a very refined combination of Maninka fruit, iris, lavender, and in the base, that leather wood combination is perfect. It's just as refined as Absolute, so it's definitely something that you can wear to the office. You're gonna have to be a little bit careful though, because this projects really well, especially right up front. Very powerful. The good news is that the Le Parfum performs like a parfum. Very aromatic coming straight out of the nozzle. It projects really well off the skin. I love that combination, again, of the iris, manica fruit, the leather, and the woods. So I'm going to have to give this some wear, and I'll give you guys a better idea of what I feel like the performance is. But right now, judging from how it's projecting off my arm and how it's smelling, it's really creating a nice bubble, and it's very strong, very strong. And for a parfum, it should be strong. So it's working really well. So I'm very happy to see that it's a true parfum. The bottle is beautiful, sitting beside the other bottles. Can't say enough about the presentation. I love this presentation. I really like this flanker. So if you are a fan of the scent, you'll definitely want to pick up Le Parfum. Right now it's about $100 no matter where you find it. Chances are the price isn't going to drop really quickly or drastically for this. So if you want to pick it up, now would probably be the time to do it. But again, if you want to save a few bucks, I would say maybe 6 months down the line. If we don't still have all of these supply chain issues and issues with raw materials, such as what Blue Electrique with Yves Saint Laurent has run into likely, then hopefully we'll see more of these in production, and it won't be so hard to find or won't be so hard to get, because I feel like it's definitely worth owning. Well guys, that's it for my first impressions of Hugo Boss The Scent Le Parfum. If you've tried this out and you really like it or you don't like it, let me know what your opinion is of the fragrance in the comments below. Thanks so much for checking out today's unboxing and first impression. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.